Hi students, I hope all of you had good health. Today we will be having our next revision video lesson on physical and chemical changes. Now last day students, what we did is, based on some pictures, we simply classified them as physical and chemical changes and also give appropriate biological or rather scientific reasons so that we can classify them into physical and chemical changes. But in nature, the changes that occur can be classified into various types of changes. I mean to say that it is not that it can only be classified into physical and chemical changes. It can be associated with one or more several changes. So we need to classify them into more than this two categories, that is physical and chemical changes, and we need to analyze them that why it is associated with such other changes. So today we will do is we will simply classify the following into physical or chemical change, reversible or irreversible change, desirable or undesirable change. And also we will give reason to support our answer. Now in the first slide we can see the various stages which shows ripening of banana. As you can see students, there are 7 stages: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. In the first stage, we can see that the banana is green in color, and slowly when it proceeds from this green colored banana towards the 7th one, we see that it entirely turns into yellow ripened banana, and even black spots are also being produced on their surface. So it is an example of chemical change because new substances are formed within this ripened banana. If we eat the green color banana, we won't be able to eat it raw. Rather, we need to cook it, and even the taste of this green banana is not sweet. Whereas the yellow color banana is softer, can be eaten raw, and it is much sweeter in taste. That means some chemical changes has occurred that turns this green color of this outer peel of banana into yellow color. Some chemical change has occurred that makes this banana sweet in the ripened state and also soft. Since new substances are formed within this ripened fruit, therefore it's an example of chemical change. Again, it is an irreversible change too, because the ripened banana cannot change back to the unripened state anymore, even if we change the conditions. And also, it's a desirable change because it is easy to eat, and banana is a very good source of carbohydrate as well as potassium, which is very much required for our good health. Therefore, ripening of fruit like banana is an example of chemical change as well as irreversible change and also desirable change. So as I said students, last day's video we considered only the two broad categories, that is physical and chemical changes. But in nature, changes are always associated, many changes are associated with a single phenomenon. We are just learning that how different phenomena are associated with a single change. Next is conversion of raw egg to boiled egg. As students, you all can see the different stages of boiled egg. It's 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and up to 15 minutes I have shown you. Now, students, we know that before boiling, if we try to throw a egg on a wall or any hard surface, we will see that the outermost calcareous shell of the egg breaks and the semi-liquid yolk along with the albumin comes out. But when we start heating the same egg, some chemical changes goes on within this egg, which converts the albumin of the egg into this white color mass, and the yolk, which is the yellowish color semi-liquid fluid, turns into this light yellow colored solid mass. That means we can see that due to boiling, the protein which was present within the egg coagulates. And that is why from this semi-liquid state, it converts into a solid state, and now even if we break the egg shell, calcareous shell, we will see that the semi-liquid mass will not flow anymore out, rather it is a solid mass that can be consumed. So since as new substance is formed in this process, that is why it's a chemical change. In this change, the boiled egg cannot be changed back to the unboiled egg state, because even after cooling down the heated egg, we, if again try to open the shell, we will see that the entire albumin and the yolk has turned solid. It will never again turn back into the semi-liquid state. And it's definitely a desirable change because it is easy to eat, consume, and it provides a lot of protein source to our body. That is why conversion of raw egg to boiled egg is a chemical, irreversible, desirable change. Next is popping of a balloon. Now, popping of a balloon is a physical change. At the same time, it's a irreversible change and also an undesirable change. Now, let us discuss one by one. First of all, when we burst the balloon does not change in chemical composition. Rather, the chemical state remains the same. No new substances are formed over here. Therefore, it's a physical change. But at the same time, it's an irreversible change too, because once the balloon is bursted, it will not be gained back to the original condition. And definitely it's an undesirable change, because suppose you all are having a birthday party and all these balloons are being filled to decorate your place. But if someone comes with a pin and pops off all the balloon, so it will destroy the beauty of that place. And as it is not good for that particular situation. Therefore, it's an example of undesirable change. Therefore, this phenomena can be considered under physical, irreversible, as well as undesirable change. Next is occurrence of a landslide. It's a physical change. Now, why it's a physical change? Because when the land mass was being slided from this portion downhill, it does not produce any new kind of substances. Means soil which was present on top hill was same as that of the soil which was present downhill after the landslide. But it's an irreversible change because even if we try, we cannot again make the place back to its original condition, because once the soil has slided out from this place and as you all can see that the road has also cracked over here, we cannot again reverse the condition and make the place back to the exactly original condition. Yes, we can repair the roads over here, but the same condition will not be there. There will be some or the other changes. That is why it's an irreversible change, and obviously it's an undesirable change, because firstly it will lead to destruction of road, bridges, and even if there is any um house below this slided portion, they will also destroy. Even people may be injured badly, they may even become the victim, they may become even this may lead to their death also. And it also poses a great threat to the agricultural fields also, because if this entire landmass falls on agricultural field, the entire crops will be destroyed, and therefore it's not a desirable change, it only causes harm to mankind. Next is germination of seed. Now, as you can see, students, that here are 5 stages which are being shown. Now, in the first stage, the seed is slowly germinating. Now, the radical portion grows downwards. From the top, the plumule give rise to the shoot system, that is leaves and new branches are coming out. And finally, in the 5th stage, we get the seedling. Now, the entire seed from its rounded or any kind of shape gets entirely changed into this seedling form. That means the appearance, the internal chemical composition, everything is changed, because the seed may consist of the food within the endosperm or the cotyledons. Even that is also exhausted while the leaves are being formed. And also within the seed, we do not get the chlorophyll, but in the plant, we get this kind of molecule. That means formation of new kind of molecules are evident over there. That is why, since new substances are formed, therefore it's an example of chemical change. Now, germination require conditions like ample amount of sunlight, temperature, water availability, respiratory gases like oxygen availability. Now, even if we try to reverse the condition and get back the seed again, we will not be getting it back. Therefore, it's an example of irreversible change. And since the Germination of seed give rise to many seedling, which latter give rise to new fruits, vegetable, even cereals, pulses, and so on, which is very much fruitful for agricultural practice. Therefore, it's a useful process to mankind. Therefore, at the same time, it's a desirable change too. Therefore, germination of seed is a chemical change, irreversible change, and at the same time, it's a desirable change too. Next is formation of flower from bud. Now, as you can see, students, this picture shows that the entire petal of the bud is being enclosed within the sepal. Now, slowly the flower blooms. And why the flower blooms? We all know that due to absorption of water, the internal cells of the cell swells up, and this force of water is responsible for blooming of the bud. That means over here, no new substances are formed. The molecules which was present in the sepal and petal of the bud is same as that of present within the sepal and petal of the bloomed flower. Therefore, no new substance is formed. Next, even if we try to close the bloomed flower, we cannot get back the original one. Therefore, it's an irreversible change. That means, remember students, all physical changes are not always reversible. It may be irreversible. So the main point which we need to consider while classifying things or phenomena into physical and chemical changes, the first and foremost point we need to consider is whether new substances are formed or not. And this point should be mentioned in your answer scripts also while you give your answer. Next is, it's an irreversible change, I have explained. Next is desirable change. Now, why it is desirable change, students? Because if the flower blooms, then the pollinators like butterfly, insect, birds, and many more will be coming or visiting the flower for getting their food in the form of nectar and pollen. Now, when it moves from one flower to another bloomed flower, it results in pollination, which is followed by fertilization and development of new fruit and seed. Now, fruit is very much essential as our food, and after eating the food, we throw the seed and dispersal of seed results, and which is also very good. Even if we don't throw the seed for dispersal also, we can use the seed for planting new trees, new plants, new seedlings, which will latter again help in agricultural practice. Therefore, blooming of the bud or formation of flower from bud is obviously a desirable change because it is useful to mankind. Next is formation of idli from batter. Now, this batter consists of a mixture of generally rice and dal or pulses. Now, this rice and pulses, after forming a paste, before making idli, we need to ferment them. Now, what is fermentation, students? As we all know that microorganisms act anaerobically on starchy component. Over here, starchy component is the rice and pulse batter, which forms alcohol, which gives this idli a sour taste. Now, this fermentation of the batter is always associated with evolution of gases like carbon dioxide. It is associated with change in smell and taste. That means new molecules are definitely being formed over here. That means from starch, we get carbon dioxide as well as ethyl alcohol or any kind of alcohol in the process. Therefore, formation of idli from batter is a chemical change. Okay, as it is associated with formation of new substances, associated with formation of some gases, it is associated with formation of, or rather change in taste. That is why it is an example of chemical change. Now, it is also an irreversible change. Why? Because once we have formed idli from this batter of rice and pulses, we cannot get back the rice and pulses batter again by reversing the condition. And next is, it is obviously a desirable change. Why? Because idli is one of the staple food of the Indians, of our or many people. So it's a desirable change. It's a good source of carbohydrate. That is why it's useful to mankind. Next is breaking of bottle. It's a physical change. Now, why breaking of bottle is a physical change? Because after breaking the bottle, the molecules which are present in the pieces of glass is same as that it is present in the bottle. Therefore, no new substances are formed, and it's an example of physical change. Next, it's an example of irreversible change too. Now, why? Because once the bottle is broken, it will not be changed back to its unbroken state by reversing the condition, even if we try to put sellotape or fevikwik or any kind of gum to paste the pieces together to form the original glass bottle, we will not be able to do so. Therefore, it's an example of irreversible change too. And definitely it's an undesirable change because the pieces of glass bottle may cause injury, it may cause deep cuts, it may lead to blood loss and some accidental injuries too. Therefore, breaking of bottle is a physical, irreversible as well as undesirable change. Next is formation of biogas from cow dung. Now, what is biogas? Biogas is a kind of fuel which consists of the gas methane, which is highly inflammable. Now, how it is formed? As you can see in the picture, students, that the dung which is produced from the cow is taken in the biogas plant over here, and with water it is mixed, and under anaerobic condition, when this cow dung and water is left, it produces a gas which is known as biogas. Now if we again connect this plant with a pipe to the we can connect this pipe, and as you can see, we can use it as a fuel for cooking. Even we can use this fuel for conversion into electrical energy at a small scale, not at a large scale but at a small scale. That means, since from cow dung, which is mainly made up of the cellulose component of grass or any kind of plant, into the gaseous component methane. Therefore, new substance is formed in this process. Therefore, it's a chemical change. And why it is an irreversible change? Because on reversing the condition, we can never get back the cow dung again. And at the same time, it's a desirable change too, because the biogas so formed is useful to mankind. How? Because it is helping in the purpose of cooking by acting as a fuel. Again, it is helping in lighting lamps. That means it helps in uh, conversion. It helps to get electrical energy at a small scale. That is why it is a desirable change too. Next is sublimation of ammonium chloride. Now, ammonium chloride, it's an example of sublimable compound. Now, what is sublimable compound, students? It's a compound which on heating directly turns into vapor. And in the process, we cannot get back, and in the process, we can get back ammonium chloride again into the solid state. That means we can convert the vapor state into the solid state again by reversing the condition. Now, first of all, new substance is not formed in the process because we are simply doing what? We have taken a china dish over here. Then we have kept an inverted funnel or tube on the surface of that china dish, which consisted of the ammonium chloride solid state, and the end of the funnel is plugged with a cotton. Now when we start heating it, the ammonium chloride gas, the ammonium chloride solid state starts directly converting into vapor, as it's a sublimable compound. Now when we just plug a cotton on one end, the vapors are not being able to escape out. Now this gas, on coming in contact with the cold surface of the inverted tube, it solidifies into ammonium chloride again. Therefore, it's a physical as well as reversible change. And it's a desirable change too, because ammonium chloride has a variety of application in medicinal field too. It is used as a medicinal component, especially in treating respiratory disorder. Next is fermentation of sugar to form alcohol. Now, when sugar is fermented, a new substance is formed called alcohol. And at the same time, if we try to reverse the condition and get back alcohol, we will not get back it into its original state. Now, it's a desirable change because alcohol has got a lot of application in chemical laboratory, in pharmaceuticals industry, in medicinal field. And nowadays, all of you know, students, that our hand sanitizers, which are used nowadays to protect us against COVID-19, also consist of alcohol. Now, it's a product which is formed from this sugar or any starch component. Therefore, fermentation of sugar is a chemical change as well as irreversible and desirable change. Next is another good example is forest fire. Now, it's definitely a natural change, students, because we can also again classify any phenomena into man-made or natural changes also. But today we are only considering three types of changes into category, that is physical or chemical change, reversible or irreversible change, desirable or undesirable change. So I am explaining with that point only. Many other classifications can also be done, dear students. Now it is a chemical change because when the forest is burned, mainly as you can see, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, hydrogen sulfide, and so many toxic gases along with water vapor is released into the air. And what is left behind is only ashes. Okay? Since new substance, ash, as well as toxic gaseous forms are being produced, therefore it's an example of chemical change. Now, at the same time, we cannot reverse back the condition and get back the original forest. Therefore, it's an example of irreversible change, and it's a very much undesirable change, students, because we all know that these forests are home to a lot of plants and animals. So due to such a massive destruction, a habitat loss is seen. A very recent phenomena was seen in the Australian forest. I hope all of you have heard about it, seen about it in the news. The kangaroos were dying one by one. So when forest fire occurs, a lot many species gets extinct also due to such phenomena. So, and next is due to release of such toxic gases at a massive scale, it causes pollution too, especially air pollution. Therefore, forest fire is an example of chemical change, irreversible change, as well as undesirable change. Next is digestion. Now, what is digestion, students? It simply means breaking down of complex food into simpler substances so that body cells can absorb it. As the picture so given over here, students, I hope all of you can see that it consists of many fruits and vegetables. Now, students, is it possible for you to absorb, your cells can absorb such a large size fruits and vegetables all together? No, it's not possible. Therefore, we use our teeth, we use our muscles of the gut, and even the digestive enzymes for breaking this complex food, especially into glucose, amino acid, fatty acid, glycerol, as well as minerals and vitamins. So that our body cell can absorb it, it can utilize it for making new kind of substances, which is a body product only, and it is useful for our growth, for our healthy maintenance, and so on. Since from these complex substances of fruit, vegetables and all, we are getting new kind of substances within the body after digestion, that is glucose, amino acid, fatty acid, glycerol, vitamin, minerals. Therefore, it's a chemical change. Again, at the same time, it's an irreversible change too, because even if we try to reverse back the condition, we will not be able to reverse it back to this form. Therefore, it's an irreversible change. Now, when this Products like glucose, amino acid, and fatty acid glycerol is formed within our body. What happens? First of all, it helps in proper physical growth, mental growth, proper building of our body. It helps in boosting our immunity. It keeps us healthy. Formation of blood takes place. Strong bones form, and so many things occur. That is why it's a desirable change too. Therefore, digestion is a chemical, irreversible, as well as desirable change. So I hope students, all of you have understood that one phenomena or one event so occurring around you can include various aspects of changes. We just cannot say that by seeing a single phenomena that it's a physical change only, it's a chemical change only. We cannot say like that. We can, rather, we need to understand the basis of classifying changes which is surrounding around you all. And today's lesson mainly consisted of various changes which occurs around you, and the various aspect of changes like physical, chemical, irreversible, reversible, desirable, undesirable change, which includes or is associated with such changes which is occurring. So thank you, students. I hope all of you have understood today's lesson. Have a nice day.